We're halfway to Xenia, Ohio, where the Hamvention is going to be held. And we stayed at a DoubleTree motel and our hotel, which used to be a Holiday Inn. And what did we see but Tesla recharging stations? I've never seen that before. You get about 30 minutes of charge time. It's all free. It doesn't cost a penny if a man comes up or a woman comes up with a Tesla. I'll show you what the nozzles look like. I talked to a guy who was here with a Tesla. He said he loves the car. And they were sitting here waiting for the thing to charge. Here's what the charging connector looks like. If I can get it to focus a little here. Let me see if I can get a little more focus. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that or not. Come on, camera. There we go. I think that's a little better. Anyway, that's what you look like. We came up to an intersection here in Illinois, and you know, we had to sit and talk for a while because we couldn't quite figure out which way to go. Well, it took us over an hour, about an hour and a half to even get in here and get parked. It is now 10:15 and this place opened up at 9 o'clock. Should have been in here a lot sooner. But this is what's going on, Hamvention 2017 on the Greene County Fairgrounds. I'm just now walking on in. Well, I finally found the flea market area. It goes way on out over there. Plus everything you see behind me here goes all the way around. I'm sort of in my seventh heaven here and just getting started. I'm going to go ahead and make the rounds, go from table to table, see what all is here. I doubt that anything will catch my eye immediately because I want to save my money in case something later on does. But this is pretty slick here. Lots of people here at this convention, or at this Hamvention. Unbelievable. Tons of people. I'm happy to say, folks, we have Scott Johnston here, my old buddy. He said he would be here, and I'm here, and he brought me a retirement gift, which he should not have. He also bought me a horseradish plant, which is really cool. I asked him to bring it, and I appreciate that. And is that horseradish plant out of your garden?
It sure is. In fact, that's actually grew it. My video, and it's already regrown that much since I made that video.
Well, so, when I get home, I'll show everybody that radish, that horseradish, and I'm going to make my own horseradish. He showed me how to do it. I love horseradish. And did you find anything here you were looking for today?
I've been having a good time. I found a desoldering station that a couple of pieces that hopefully all work, and a little bit of wires and heat sink compound, and bought some things to make an antenna, and who knows what else we're going to find.
We're not even done yet. We're about, what, 20% through?
20% through. It is. Gone inside yet.
It is. Yeah, we haven't even gone inside. Oh my God, I'm glad this thing's a 3-day affair. All right, we're going to continue to move on. I just want you to know old Scott made it here. Well, we're on our way home to Arkansas. The Hamvention's over. And we have stopped at the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton. And we're going to go ahead and go inside and look around again. We did this last year, and I can't remember if I did any filming and posting it to the YouTube or not. We're going to make sure we do that this year. Well, here's the entrance, and if anybody decides to come here, you cannot have these items. Cannot take this inside. Old Pat here, he's got a pack. He's going to see if he can't check it at the door. If not, he's going to have to run it all the way back to the car. But there's your entrance. They have a 4th wing that they've opened up here now. And these folks that were here at the Hamvention, we were here last year, they want to see what's in that 4th wing. Matter of fact, it says right there, if you look, they urge you to go check it out. This is the U.S. Air Force motorcycle made by the Orange County Choppers on television, if you'll remember. The Tuttle family. I watched this thing being made. Never thought it'd be actually right up next to it. It was here last year when we were here, but it just looks so cool. Look at these handlebar grips. God, handles. Just a tank. Oh God. Very, very cool. Very cool. Very well done. Looks almost like the SR-71. And here it is, the Air Force OCC chopper. That must be wifey calling. They have a lot of big displays in here. 4 giant halls, like I said.
The word kamikaze.
They have television displays that show different battles during the Second World War.
To the kamikaze pilot, the most inviting
All kinds of good stuff here.
the aircraft.
Anybody interested in this sort of thing, this is where you have to come. There's just, this place is just full of history. All kinds of airplanes, all kinds of history, all about different pilots, the very first pilots, the heroes of the wars. Great stuff. And they show, you know, different kinds of uniforms and everything.
As a rule, the kamikazes comprise only
All sorts of things. There was stuff that was donated. Lieutenant Fred Oliva
defending Allied planes. The kamikazes
got a Distinguished Flying Cross. Cool stuff. Even his class ring is here. You know, in the early years of Air Force aviation, the enlisted people flew aircraft as well as officers. And then, of course, later on, it became strictly the officers. And I don't know, this a complete history of this thing. B-29s, China operations, Central Burma, 1945. Great photographs, great history. Some of the old uniforms here that they wore back in the day. Look at this. This is amazing. They've got all the old aircraft hanging from the ceiling, Piper Cubs, all sorts of things. This place is just chock full. This is just one hangar. There's 3 others to go. Incredible. Here's one for you World War II buffs. I'm not even going to tell you what this is. Maybe you can tell me. This is cool. This is really cool. Here's a B-17 upper machine gun turret. Can you imagine sitting in that thing firing at an enemy aircraft coming around? Virtually unprotected, you know? I mean, the rounds would just go right in there and tear your head off. Ugh. Made you want to be a better shot with those machine guns, I'll tell you. Here's a World War II German reconnaissance aircraft called the Storch, S-T-O-R-C-H. How's that for camouflage, huh? Just paint a few lines on the side, that'll protect you. Here's something I just now learned about. I didn't know that. Barack Obama, President Obama, he authorized a public law that gave gold congressional medals to the WASP women, the W-A-S-P, and that stands for Women Air Force Service Pilots. And they ferried aircraft from point A to point B. During, you know, they would build a lot of the aircraft in the United States, but they had to get them overseas. And these are the women that flew them over there. They are members of the WASP Corps, and they were very brave, by the way. And I remember reading 1 or 2 books about these women. They never really got the recognition they deserved. I think they also flew supply missions. You know, it's things that the fighting pilots couldn't do. Here's some of the cool stuff I like to see. The bi-wing aircraft from way back when, and the old uniforms they wore way back when. This is just too cool. Too cool. Let's see if we can find out what this is. Well, believe it or not, it's a bomber. Looks like an Italian bomber. Look where the engines are exposed. Isn't that amazing? Holy crow. Here's another one for you to guess at. What do you think this thing is? It goes all the way down to that end. Looks like it's made out of laminated wood. This is amazing stuff here. There it is. Pretty good size. What do you think it is? Now here's a bit of black history for you. This guy here, his name was Eugene Jacques Ballard. He was the first black military aviator, and he flew for the French. In 1917, he became the first black aviator and the only black aviator in all of World War I. Look at all the medals this guy got. He's a pretty outstanding young feller. And he had a pet monkey. He's holding a pet monkey right there. And every time he flew into combat, he kept that pet monkey under his coat. They flew together all the time. The monkey's name was Jimmy. Anyway, he was the first one. Man alive, that must be a wicked honor there. There's the whole story behind him. Look up his name. Brave guy. Here's another one of those things. What do you think they are? Well, as you can see, we are now in a more modern place, hangar number 2 at the museum. More modern aircraft. This is your B-52 bomber right here. B-52D they call it. That's a big airplane, boy, let me tell you, that is a monster. Those are the babies that carry the nuclear weapons, by the way. Here's another one. It's a General Dynamics AGM-78. Got the pilot in the front, the weapons guy in the back, I guess. Really cool looking jet. I've never seen one of these before, I don't think. Alright, in order to get to the next hangar, we have to go through the Cold War gallery. The Cold War. I remember that like it was yesterday. You're leaving the American sector, moving into the Russian sector in Berlin, I guess. At the end of World War II, Berlin was an absolute rubble. Look, basically what you see right here. These women here, 2/3 of the population in Berlin were women, and they took the brick, cleaned them up, and commenced rebuilding the city. Tough, tough German women. Now here's something I wasn't aware of. During the Berlin airlift, they actually delivered coal in large duffel bags. The Americans did when they did the Berlin airlift. I didn't know that. I thought they delivered mainly food, maybe some clothes. They actually gave them coal. Here's some cartoons and things that happened during the Berlin airlift. For some of you who don't know what the Berlin airlift was, that is a piece of history worth reading about. Alright, I'm in the next hangar, and we are definitely going to have to look at that baby right there. There it is, flying. The B-2 bomber. And this is it right here. Not the same one, but the B-2 bomber. This is really cool. It's bigger than I thought. And here's the SR-71. When I was in Japan, I used to see this baby take off every so often. It was the strangest airplane. It would take off like that, and then all of a sudden, straight up, and it was gone. I mean, in like no time. This was really cool. Let's go look at it from the other side. Wow. Just imagine being a pilot in one of these, the type of training it took to learn how to fly this thing. I mean, you had to be like numero uno type of guy. There's a nose shot of it. Now, wouldn't you rather be watching this stuff than me wasting a lot of video and battery time on a Hamvention? I did that last year. This is a lot more fun as far as educational purposes. We are in the missile section of the Air Force Museum here. They got all these missiles. This is your Titan II missile. This one right here. I know many things about the Titan II missile. Many things. All the way up to the nose cone on the top. Very big missile. It was fired from a silo, by the way. Here's a satellite. This is neat, defense satellite. Look how big that is, bigger than I expected. Let's go around the other side, see what we've got there. Apparently these panels deploy once the thing is out and gets its power from the sun. Wow. Here it is deployed where the solar panels roll down away from the body of the satellite. They're on hinges down here. And it hinges down and it gets this power. Neat stuff, kids. This is where the future is, right here, not in drugs. We're moving through to number 4 hangar, which is the newest addition. They were completing it last year when we were here. We'll go in there and see what they've got. Yeah, number 4 is the United States Air Force in space. Lots of big missile stuff in here. High-flying aircraft. Cool stuff. Look at that, we got a mock-up of a capsule there. Space capsule. Really good stuff. Fuel tanks. Wow. Man, this thing is big. Here's a Mercury capsule. You can actually get up on the steps here and look inside. Where the heck did the guy sit? Oh, he sat right... Oh, yeah, he must have sat over there in that thing there, I guess. Boy, oh my, what a mess. Look at all these panels and switches and everything. You have to be a genius just to figure out what it is. It's pretty neat though. That has to be the seat right there. It just has to be. One man, I guess. 15-minute flights. Now here's a Gemini capsule. Let's take a look at that one, see if there's any difference here. Oh, we've gotten a lot more modern. Look at here, 2 seats, and they actually look like seats. No, yeah, one over there. You can just barely see the edge of it there. One there, and one here. That's pretty slick. A lot more modern, a lot more engineering went into this one. Here's an Apollo 15 module. Wow. That's even bigger yet. The heat shield down at the bottom. Apollo 15 command module. Look how burned up it was when it came in. Considering the heat and everything it went through, it's amazing it's in that condition. Can you imagine being the first guy to go up in space and they'll say, oh yeah, the heat shield will work, it'll protect you. But in case it doesn't, see you later. God, what talk about bravery. Oh, one of the very first ones, you know. I do believe I see the space shuttle over there, or at least a mock-up, and people are going up and in the steps. We're gonna do the step thing. I'm just gonna walk up the ramp. This gentleman said I can walk up this ramp. You're Gary, right?
Yeah.
My brother's name is Gary. How do you do, Gary? Nice to meet you. Well, we're almost there. This is the last ramp. We came up down there. I'll bet during the visitor time of year, the vacationists and all that, I bet this thing is just packed with people. Here we go. Apparently this was the training mock-up that they used. This is the crew compartment training. The crew compartment trainers mid-deck. Yeah, they train to carry out space experiments, to eat and to sleep. How about that? This is the cargo bay with the doors that open up. Wow, very cool indeed. Let's walk all the way down here. Let's do a little panoramic here from the space shuttle platform. All kinds of stuff. Definitely worth the visit here, folks.
Yeah, but you know what? He knows more than I do.
Let's go down around the corner now, around the tail end of the shuttle, and see what's down there. This is a satellite that was supposed to have been launched to detect, it was an anti-missile thing. You know, look down on the Earth, and if anybody launched any missiles, it would detect it. And the Challenger accident happened, so it delayed the launch, and delayed the launch, and delayed the launch. It delayed it so long that the satellite actually became obsolete and never got put into space. How about them apples, huh? Incidentally, that's the camera that it was an infrared device of some sort that would have detected weapons, missiles being fired on the surface of the Earth. And of course the space shuttle engines, or what are supposed to be the engines. Remember, this was a training vehicle they used to train the astronauts. Those are big suckers. Here's one of the old Air Force Ones. For those who don't know, you young folks, anything designated Air Force One has the President of the United States on it. It could be a Piper Cub little tiny airplane. If the President is on that airplane, it automatically becomes Air Force One. This is one of the older planes. Let's see if we can find out about it. By the way, this is the Presidential Gallery. That's what they call it. We're still in number 4, hangar number 4. Well, it seems that this aircraft is the VC-137C. The first plane specifically built for a president. It served 8 presidents and countless heads of states, diplomats, dignitaries. It was done by President Kennedy. This was his Air Force One. That is really cool. This might be the same aircraft where Lyndon Johnson was sworn in after the assassination of Kennedy. Let me read it and find out. That's it. The SAM 26000. We're going to go inside there. Inside this aircraft right now. We're going to go up those steps. I didn't ever think I'd be in that airplane. Look at poor Jacqueline. Of all the pictures I saw after the assassination, that one right there of her standing there while this guy got sworn in, that must have been just, I mean, we're talking within minutes after assassination. It was required, but I felt really bad for her. Here's President and Mrs. Nixon arriving in China on the same aircraft years later. All right, let's go inside of it.
Oh my God. I wonder who's going to be claustrophobic.
Whoa.
It's going to get a little tight in here. What? It's going to get really tight in here. Well, that's why we
A little kitchen.
Oh, there's a gun and a first aid kit. Cool. And a microphone thing.
Far cry from what we have today for our president, huh?
I'm gonna live in that seat. I call that
I'm sure this part is not the president's part. This part was the lowlifes. All the lowlifes were back here. Wow.
President's actually.
Yeah, here's where the main man was.
Yeah, but they didn't touch the glass.
No, but maybe.
Oh, but that's so cool. And you're not supposed to touch it. You guys. Shh.
Yeah, this is where the man was.
I'm not touching aircraft and touching your glass.
You know, this airplane would, all the space in this airplane would probably be about equal to a closet in the new Air Force One. This is where they held all their high-powered meetings.
This is better than first class.
Wow.
This is such a big plane for literally 2 people.
Here's some more.
There's some stinging stuff.
Oh my God, this is tight.
All the staff. No doubt the staff seating.
It's really good.
If I was claustrophobic,
This is the security personnel section right here. All the guys with the guns protect the president. Wow, cool stuff. Not much of an Air Force One. And another kitchen up front. And of course into the cockpit. And out. Now this aircraft was President Dwight D. Eisenhower's Air Force One. Not designed for the president, but this is the one he used. It was a Lockheed VC-121E. We'll go through that one too. This man was the first president I actually remember. Alright, let's go up the steps into President Eisenhower's little airplane. See what that looks like. There's the cockpit. Boy, rather caveman style by today's standards. Let's see if we can find where the president actually. Here's the kitchen.
Yes, I know.
Little galley here.
I don't even know what the Columbine is. It's a flower. Columbine, the high school leader and stuff.
Walk right on through. President's section, you gotta be here somewhere. His gotta be a lot more plush than this. Of course, Eisenhower being an ex-general. Well, here we go. Now we're getting into the fancy part.
Columbine.
It's got a sofa and all that stuff. Check out the radio,
Look
people.
at it closed.
Check out the radio.
A little Murphy bed.
It's a horrible TV. Like a camera. This is a
And the lavatory for the president and probably anyone else that wanted to use it, knowing him. Just think, President Eisenhower's butt might have sat on that commode right there. Well, I've been notified by my cohorts that they're heading back toward the front door, and my battery is getting low on juice. I hope some of you enjoyed this. I sure did. I've never been through a presidential aircraft before. We might have time to go through one more. I mean, what are they gonna do? Leave without me? No. All right, let's see what President Truman, all the little luxuries he had. He was a hard-nosed guy, a Democrat, good president, I thought. Oh, wow, check all this out, all this Loran equipment, radar type stuff, directional, navigation equipment, the cockpit. Wow. More commo gear. The lighting in here is a little bit dimmer than the other aircraft. Pretty neat. This is cargo. Probably the president's stuff. There's a John. Did Harry Truman sit on that commode? Don't know. Yeah. It was not designed as a Air Force One plane. It was designed, just so they could ferry the president around. They made a few changes. That's all, to an existing aircraft, not a specifically designed Air Force One. There's the kitchen. Let's go back here. So old Harry Truman, he just got ferried around in this thing. He probably slept a little bit, but there was no luxury accommodations for him. I doubt it. This would have been his little. Got the symbol right there. Presidential seal. This would have been his section right here. He had a sofa where he probably slept. Pretty cool, huh? Well, that's it, folks. My battery is just about had the lick. I'm gonna have to shut her down and head out. We got to get back to Conway, Arkansas. It's been a fun weekend. I hope you enjoyed all this. Until next time, this is John. Well, as usual, I can't wrap it up. There's always something extra. What you're looking at here is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's chairlift, his wheelchair lift, up into the aircraft. He was paralyzed. He had gotten polio, for those of you who are old enough to know that. And this is how they got him in the airplane. They raised him on up into the aircraft, sitting on a wheelchair. President Roosevelt's chairlift. And one last shot of the space shuttle before I head out the door. It's a biggie. And of course, you all should know what that is. I believe that's your Predator drone. Actually, it's called the Reaper. MQ-9 Long Endurance Unmanned Aircraft System. Neat, neat, neat. We went to Mendelssohn's before the Hamvention began, and I picked up a whole bunch more of these rubber feet. Can't never have enough of these rubber feet. I just about ran out from the last buy. I also got, these things ran about 10 to 15 cents a piece. I just bought a whole bag of all different kinds. I also got some terminal strips on the back for antennas and ground. They go on the back of radios. Sometimes they come in all busted to pieces. I got a few more of those. I got a couple of really long multimeter probes. The ones I have are too short. I needed some really long ones, so I got those. Yeah, this is great. This is about 75 cents a piece is all they charged me for that. And I got some strain relief jobbies, if I can find them. Yeah, I picked up a few of these little strain relief, black plastic strain reliefs that you put on the back of radios for power cords. And it was just a bunch of junk, you know, what they had in there. Also bought some flat split rubber washers. I don't know where they're at. They're in here somewhere. They was in here flopping around here a little while ago, but there we are. Here's one right here. I got these little flat rubber split washers, and they're split because right there you can see the split where they separate. Okay, I need a few of those. Sometimes I don't feel like disconnecting a wire just to put a thread a rubber washer on it. I can just wrap that around it and go with it. I also picked up, now this was a big find. I thought these stupid fuses are running about $1.50 a piece if you go downtown to buy them. You know, 1 amp slow blow, 250 volts. I managed to pick this pack up for $1. Brand new ones for $1 a piece. Let me zoom in here. $1 a pack. I bought 5 packs. Of course I bought 5 packs. Are you kidding me? 20 fuses, 1 amp slow blows for $5? Of course I'm going to do that. And here's my ticket, by the way, from Hamvention. Greene County Fairgrounds, Xenia, Ohio. I didn't stick around for any of the drawings. Too muddy, too wet, too miserable in one day, too hot on the other. Didn't matter to me. I wasn't there for a drawing anyway. And I picked up a couple more of these crystals. And I'm going to try these. I'm going to test these out. These would be my little test guinea pigs on how to determine the frequency of a crystal. I found a guy on the YouTube to show us how to do that easy. Now if I screw them up, it doesn't matter. These are all 13 megacycles. And then I have a little, they gave everybody a little pin to wear free of charge when you went in the gate, Greene County, Ohio. I thought that was kind of cool. A little memento from the place. Alright, let's move on. Well, here's the rest of the stuff we picked up at Hamvention. I had a really great time this time. More so than last year. I picked up a couple of power strips for the front edges of the shelves that'll be in the new shop if I can ever get it finished. The old one was a Harbor Freight type, and the sockets, one of the sockets got hot and melted out. It had an on-off switch that had a neon light that stayed lit all the time, whether it was on or off. I just didn't trust it. So when I went to Mendelssohn's, I found these in a shopping cart, made in America, made in the United States of America. Good solid jobbies with good solid cords and everything. They wanted 25 bucks a pop for these things, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. I went up to the counter and I talked to the guy. He says, hey, anything in here is negotiable. Now this is in Mendelssohn's, remember that. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. If I take 2 of them, can I get them for 18 bucks a piece? He scratched his head and said, sure. So he knocked 7 bucks off of each one. I got them for 18 a piece. That's $18 worth of peace of mind, and I don't have to worry about burning things up when I use it. These are really nice, good and solid. Not that plastic junk. Alright, the next thing I got was this Johnson Viking 2. Now this Johnson Viking 2 I knew was going to be there before I even left for Hamvention. And it's an AM transmitter. And a fellow by the name of Eric on the Antique Radio Forum said, John, I've got a heck of a deal for you. I got 2 of these things. The second one doesn't quite work exactly right. The cabinet's a little muffed up on it. The front panel stenciling and stuff is a little bad, but you can get brand new stencils on Radio Days, on the Radio Days website. So I checked it out, sure enough. Well, there it is, and he said he was having a little trouble with it. And, you know, I've never bought anything that didn't have a little trouble. So it's very clean on the inside. He said it's already been recapped underneath. 75 bucks. That's a heck of a deal. They're selling these things for $250 and more. And this is the thing I went there primarily to get. I wanted that, but this is what I wanted primarily. Let me get that out and show it to you. This goes with this radio. I needed this to operate this. It's a variable frequency oscillator. I contacted Kurt Eicherman on the Antique Radio Forum, and he said in order to operate the Viking 2 by Johnson, you'd need a V122 variable frequency oscillator for it. Remember, this is an AM and CW rig. It's not single sideband. So I said, well, all right, well, I'll look for one when I go up to Hamvention. And then he wrote me a couple of messages back and forth on the Antique Radio Forum. And he said, now look, now also what'll work with this, because he used to have one, and he used a Heathkit HG 10 or 10B, I believe it was called 10 or 10B. Yeah, that's it right there, HG 10 or 10B. Variable frequency oscillator. And it handles the bands from 2 all the way to 80. That's the way she works. Now, of course, I did not expect to find one of these up there. I went around the racetrack. There's a racetrack at the Greene County Fairgrounds up in Ohio, up there in Xenia. That's where they race horses. And they had, you know, the vendors all along the edges and all. And I got like a quarter of a way around the track when I got there, on the outside of the track, and bingo, there this thing sat. I wasn't there 20 minutes. There it sat on the tailgate of a truck. And I said, this can't be happening. It was glowing red and white. There was fireworks shooting off from it. There was a little neon sign that said, John, where have you been? So I walked over to the tailgate, and it was hot. Oh, God, the first day of Hamvention was a scalder. And I said, how much do you want for this thing? And I looked at it, and they wanted, yeah, $100. Even though it says good, $100. Everything up there, by the way, folks, $100. $100 for this, $100 for that. Well, I'm not going to pay $100 for this. I don't pay $100 for that kind of stuff. So I told the guy, I said, I'm not going to pay $100. It's a nice looking unit. I said, do you know if it works? He says, yeah, I used it with my Heathkit DX60 all the time. It's a good unit. He said, well, what will you give me for it? I said, I'll give you $60. He said, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. He said, how about 85? And I said, I'll go 65. He said, oh, man, you know, we're both into this play the game now, you know. He said, will you give me 75 for it? I said, I'll tell you what, my rock bottom price is $70. Take it or leave it. He said, shake. And that was it. So I talked him down $30. And it was something I needed. I don't have to pay shipping costs, any of that stuff. And it's a really, really nice looking VFO. So we're going to find out if old Kirk Eicherman was right, which I'm sure he is. Kirk is a very knowledgeable individual. I like the feller a lot. Let's take a look at the next little item I bought. The next little items I bought was, I don't know if some of you recall, but just recently, Mr. Carlson's lab, Paul Carlson, he showed a radio similar to this, Atomic Era radio that was similar. His was blue, powder blue. This one's white. And I got it for $10. It needs to be cleaned. It needs to be gone through. We got to find out whether or not the clock works. For $10. Come on now. $10, I'll take a radio like that any day. No cracks on it, no breakage, no nothing for $10. Goodbye. Let's see if now it does have some discoloration here and here. But I can that's behind the dial face. It's not part of the dial face. I can take it back, paint it gold, make it look real good. Strictly AM, but Atomic Era I think is the same one that almost the same one that Paul Carlson has. The second item I got was this little Zenith. Again, not cracked, not busted in any way. A little dirty, a little messed up. Now the needle for this thing is down in here. I'm going to have to take it apart and find out what's going on. You can see the needle down in there, okay? And I'm not sure how it's going to work, but $5. I told the guy, I said, I'll give you $5 for it. It doesn't have a needle. He said, okay. I gave him $5. And then we got looking at it together, and I said, oh, guess what? There's the needle down in there. I didn't even see it hidden down in there. It had flopped down in there somehow. And I said, too bad. It's my radio. So I got this one for 10 and this one for 5. So those are a couple of great bargains. I can't wait to clean these up. Once I retire, I'll have plenty of time to make them shine and look good. Let's go to the last item that I got. Here it is, folks. I probably shouldn't have bought it, but I couldn't resist it. It's a Hamvention HQ 100C. And what drew me to this thing was the clock. It has a clock that the guy claims is operational. Some of you don't know what that clock was all about, but you could set the time for this rig to turn on, you know, before coming home from work. And it would turn on automatically and have it all warmed up for you when you came home in the old days, okay? The guy claimed it was operational. He said not only is the radio operational, but so is the clock. I said, yeah, okay, whatever, buddy. You know, but I can fix this even if it's not operational. It's not that big a deal. Again, what do you think was on the top for the price? Yep, $100. I said, no, I'm not going to give you $100. He said, well, make me an offer. It was getting toward the end of Hamvention up there, and that's when you're in the driver's seat, trust me. And I said, well, I'm not going to offer you a price. It would be insulting to you. He said, go ahead, offer me a price. He wanted 100. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $40 for it. So he says, oh man, 40. I said, that's right. He said, and he had the manual, a copy machine manual on it with the schematic and all that jazz. And he says, will you go 50? I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I said, here's my final offer. I'll give you 45. That's it. If you don't take it, I'm walking. Take it or leave it. He said, you got a deal. So I talked him down from 100 to 45. Heck of a deal with a clock. Great deal. It really is. And some people look at this and say it's a piece of junk. Me, I look at it, I see a piece of gold, okay? So Atco, eat your heart out, son. I can do good at these flea markets also, only in a different vein. Well, that's it, guys. That's the haul. I know this has been an extremely long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, this is John. Oh, one more thing. I want Eric on the Antique Radio Forum, who sold me that radio. He sold it to me for $75. He is a nice guy. He was there. He hauled it all the way from Michigan to that Hamvention to hand it over to me to save me the shipping costs. And that thing is so heavy. It takes 4 people to lift it. Anyway, I really appreciate what Eric did. Thank you very much. And there's one last thing that I got. I guess I better show also. Actually, 2 last things. We'll finish up with the 2 final items. Here's one of the last 2 items. This is a horseradish plant. Brought to the Hamvention by Scott Johnston, all the way from Virginia. We got talking about horseradish one day, and he said, I got some. I grow it every year. I make my own horseradish sauce. And I said, well, I never have. And he said, I'll bring you one. How many you want? I said, just give me 1. So he brought it. We're going to get that in the garden. Hopefully in the garden tomorrow. Let's find out why our doggie's barking over there. And the final item is a box that has something in it that Scott Johnston also gave me. And that you can read it for yourself. And that's what exactly will happen in about a week or so. 8, 9, 10 days, whatever. We're going to do it at that time. I'll do that in the next Mish-Mash video. Well, that's it, guys. Again, that's it, that is. This is John.